Hey, today I'm reacting to a video titled Doing Everything Yourself is Killing Your Business by Casey Zeman. My first reaction is his name is bad A. What a solid name. Z-Man, like He-Man. I grew up watching the cartoon, so pretty excited about it because I don't have as cool of a name as he does. But so let's just get into it. Let's hear what he has to say, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Doing everything yourself is killing your business and how to fix it. If you feel like you're drowning in your business, wearing every hat and working insane hours just to keep things running, you're not alone. I was there too. But the truth is, trying to do everything yourself is the fastest way to burn out and limit your business growth.
On that intro that he just did, man, he's 100% right. It's the fastest way to burn out and the fastest way to never, like, almost guarantee you're not going to grow, because you become the cap on every single activity, and you only have so much time in the day to do everything. So if you plan on being the solopreneur, you kind of are going to limit the growth that you're going to experience.
I'm going to show you exactly why doing everything alone is killing your business and how to fix it so you can scale without losing your friggin' mind. Let's talk about the illusion of control. When I first started my business, I believed I had to do it all. I thought no one else could do it as well, and so I was just burning myself out. Does that sound familiar? I worked on my book by myself. I worked on my course by myself. I spent like a year building assets that if I only had hired someone and I only had invested in bringing somebody else in, they could have shared in my vision and helped support me taking it to the next level. And
we have a service-based business, taxes, bookkeeping. Also, I'm an author, right? Wrote the 3.3 rule, and we're working on a new book. He's kind of in that world, writing the book, creating courses, so selling services as a thought leader. He's not wrong, though. Most business owners are unwilling to give up the task because you're the first person in the business who did the task. You're the one who had the vision that the task needed to be done. So it's natural to say, I'm going to be the best person to do this. There's a guy named Dan Martell. Maybe you've heard of him, really smart guy. In his book, one of the things he said that I like the most is, and I'm going to butcher the quote, so I apologize, Dan, but it's like, something done 80% good by somebody else is 100% awesome to you. So even just accepting that maybe they aren't going to do it as well as you can do it, but giving them the chance to learn how to do it, even if it's not as good as you in the beginning, is actually the best thing for your business. One, that person can be trained to improve so that they can do it as well as you. And I have found at this point, with 280 team members and an entire leadership team, with each leadership team member over a significant head count of team members in their department, most of them are doing things better than I could do it because they're able to give focus 100% to those tasks instead of me feeling super scattered. So it's interesting. He's right. He says it's an illusion of control. And the reality is, the more we hold on to it, the less control we actually have if in fact we're trying to grow our business.
And probably get to the completion date on some of those projects in a much shorter period of time. But because I didn't trust that I could rely on anybody, I was kept at my own pace, right? I was stuck in what I call the entrepreneur trap, believing that if I just worked harder, I could scale my business. But in reality, I was my own bottleneck. So why is this hurting your business?
So before he answers that question, 100%, I've never heard the entrepreneur trap. Maybe that's his patented thing, but it is a trap for sure. If you think you're the only one who can do things, you're limiting your business growth. There are people out there that are so good at some of the things that you aren't good at, that you may not even know you need to be doing in your business. So, yeah, man, if I could give you any sort of encouragement, it's take that risk, hire that first team member, give up some control over some of the tasks if you already have team and maybe you're still like the decision thought leader and people are coming to you to make the decision and then they go back and do tasks. Give them ownership meaning let them have the authority to make decisions over their job responsibilities. It will change your business for the good. Okay, so let's see what he says. How is this hurting our business? I have an idea.
You cap your growth. If you're the only one doing the work, your income is limited by your time and energy, and that is not scalable. You burn out faster. You're working 14-hour days. You might feel productive, but it's actually draining your ability to think strategically. I know this. I was up till 2 a.m. many nights. You slow down your progress. Every decision, every task has to go through you. That means your business moves at the speed of one person, you. Your strengths get wasted.
So what he's talking about is what I call built-in hustle culture. It just seems like this concept of hustle culture has permeated almost every business, every industry, swept every clime. It's everywhere. And a lot of times we think as owners, in order to be more successful, I just need to put in more hours. I actually make a joke in one of my presentations that I give as a keynote. It's like, hey, I've created this I figured out the magic formula on how to make more money. Hey, make sure you write this down. The more hours I worked, the more money I made. But as he said, and I 100% agree, not scalable, and I'm going to add, not sustainable. The science of the 3.3 rule tells us that the most productive workday consists of working up to 3 hours at a time, followed by a 30% recovery break. In summary, a simple way to say it is work intentional. When you work hard, and then take intentional breaks that don't involve any work. That's how we avoid burnout. That's the best way to avoid burnout. And then what he's talking about is just the sake of working 14-hour days. That of itself is not sustainable, in my opinion. He said it limits how you can scale, but I'm telling you, it's just not sustainable. There are some people out there who are unicorns of nature, uniques of nature, and they only need 4 hours of sleep or something like that. If their body can survive on that, cool. That's a very small percentage population, and all the people we've worked with don't fit that mold. We need adequate sleep. We need adequate rest. Our brains scientifically need to be able to recover from focus time.
And instead of focusing on big picture growth, you're stuck answering emails and fixing website issues. The fix? How to actually start delegating.
Yeah, as he gets into his steps, as your business grows, you want to make sure that you take a lot of the problem solving stuff off your plate when there are tasks that have almost no danger if a mistake is made in fixing it. Like fixing a website, you can totally pass that off to somebody else, because if they end up making a mistake, chances are it's not going to cost you very much, and they learn from the experience. And then they eventually get to the best case scenario, which is they're literally just taking care of those problems, fixing it the right way. And other than maybe you being notified, hey, we fixed this problem, and you give them a thumbs up, thanks, and attaboy type of thing, you don't have to waste the brain power on those types of tasks when, as the founder, visionary of your company, the business leader, the captain, you need to be directing the ship. That's where your energy should be going, and let other team members deal with a lot of the day-to-day tasks. Some of us call that minutia. So anyways, let's see what his steps are.
Step 1, identify low-value tasks. Ask yourself, what are the tasks that take up most of my time but don't actually require my unique skills? Here's a good example. Maybe customer service, admin tasks, scheduling, social media posting, bookkeeping.
Yeah, so before he gets into step 2, 100% agree with that. And then even on all those things, you can still have an element of control. Like the first one he said was customer service or support. I can't remember which word he used. You can have a team, like we have a client relations team, and they handle upset clients. Occasionally, depending on how severe the situation is, they will involve me. And that's totally okay. But if I'm only involved in 1% of the issues, I've freed up my time from having to deal with the other 99% of the issues because someone's trained on how to do that. And frankly, it's better for me. I take business personal. I don't care what people say. Oh, it's just business. It's always personal to me. If someone has a bad experience, whether that's I have a team member who had an abusive client, or I have a client who felt like our team member didn't treat them fairly, I get mad at both parties or either party. And so a lot of these cases, I take mistakes too personal. And there's other people who are so much more patient than I am. I just know it's not a strength of mine. So having team members who have that skill set, because I want to emulate that. I want our clients to have a patient person to talk to calm them down, to give them reassurance that we'll get it worked out. It's been the best thing for us. And then he did say bookkeeping. Yeah, so just a plug, use bookkeepers. Saying, I know a firm if you need someone to do that for you. That's a great thing to offload. But yeah, I kind of said it before he got to step one, but getting rid of those tasks that really aren't a ton of value to the business, but necessary, you shouldn't be spending your time on that. We actually did an exercise with our accountants on this, and we listed out a bunch of the things they're doing. Not only did we list what they're spending time on, we listed how much time they're spending on it. And then we created this hub and spoke model where there's a circle in the middle, which is the team member. And then we drew a line for the amount of time they spent on each of these tasks. It just gave us a really nice visual to be like, wow, why is that spoke so much longer than these other spokes? So it kind of helped us see which ones we should focus on. We identified about 70% of the stuff our accountants were doing didn't require an accounting degree or a CPA license, and that we could hire other team members to take those responsibilities off their plate, which then increases the entire capacity of the company. Now we can take on more clients. The clients are now getting better treatment from our pros because they have more time to deal with that. And these other things that are necessary, but still considered low value tasks, someone who didn't have the training as an accountant could handle it. And it really increased our profitability by a lot.
2, automate first, then delegate. So before you hire, look for tools and automation. Use software for scheduling and email marketing and customer support. Great examples are Zapier and Trello, Slack, email automation tools, Easy Webinar.
Yeah, I like that idea. We're in Utah. I don't know where he's at. We say Zapier, same deal. I think in general, you look at any of these tasks, and the general rule of thumb I've learned dealing with AI companies and RPA, robotic process automation, is if there's a task that's happening that basically is the same task every single time, that's an opportunity to find a software solution that likely already exists. I mean, we have moved to Salesforce, which allows us to program some stuff into our workflow. And while we spent a lot of money on it, we are a larger company. The money that we've spent automating certain things, the cost has paid itself back in the need, or I say the decrease in need to hire more team members. So automating as many tasks as possible. It's just the way the world is right now. And it's important that you look at that and don't be afraid of it, and like welcome the opportunity to find tasks that you can take off of team members' plate because software can handle it. All right, let's see what his third step is.
Step 3, start small. Hire for one task. You don't need a full-time team on day one. Start by outsourcing one repetitive task like a virtual assistant for admin work or a video editor for content.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. Start small. Part of that too is a financial plan, right? Like if I can free up my time here, I can now go and spend more time on high value tasks, which then should increase the profitability because I have more revenue coming in. I'm focused on those things. I now have extra cash. I can then go back and find what's the next thing to do. One of the exercises I really like to do on this is what I call the 10x org chart. Learned this from my mentor, Kelly Roach. We drew out an org chart, not of how we currently are, but how we wanted the company to be at a size 10 times larger than what we are now, hence the 10x org chart. And then from there, we could identify, based on our current struggles and bottlenecks in the company, which one of these positions should be the one we hire next, because it'll solve or take it'll get rid of a lot of those problems we're currently dealing with just by hiring the one person. That's how we chose the next person to hire. So if you're smaller and starting off, I remember when it was just me, the first person I hired was someone to help me with my email. That was taking up a ton of my time. So I hired an assistant who ended up being the office manager, and she stuck with us for a long time. She's actually still works part-time for us now, almost 20 years later. But the first task I did was like, what's taking up my most of my time? He suggested virtual assistant. I liked the face-to-face interaction because I also needed someone to kind of be a receptionist. So that's why I went with the in-office assistant. But yeah, also just so you know, I've learned this. Delegating email is actually not as simple as it sounds. So just so you know, it's one of the hardest things to delegate because the assistant needs to understand a lot about the business and the relationship with all the people emailing you. So it's not a slam dunk. There's going to be training involved, just so you remember. All right, let's go to step 4 here.
Step 4, build SOPs, which are standard operating procedures. If you don't have a system, every new hire will be chaos. So create step-by-step instructions for tasks you delegate. For example, if you're outsourcing social media, document how you want posts scheduled, captions written, and engagement handled.
Yeah, I'm just going to simply say, I agree with that. Standard operating procedures, whatever you want to call it. But if you want to have someone do the work that you initially had trouble giving up the control of doing, the best thing that gives you comfort is knowing you created the training and the checklists. Now, there are some people who would say you can actually have them create the training as you're training them, have them document all the things that you're training them to do, which is definitely an option and can be efficient. I have found we at this point have created thousands of SOPs. We've improved them. We've deleted some. We've added new ones. It's not always the case that it's the best thing to do is have the new person documenting what you train them on, because it's hard for some to keep track of like learning the actual process and then documenting. I know it sounds like they should be able to track things by writing it down as they do it. I just have found in practice it doesn't always happen that way. So sometimes real life experience will trump what sounds logical when real life experience doesn't match logic. But anyways, SOPs are great.
Step 5, let go of perfectionism. This was my hardest lesson. Your team won't do anything exactly like you, and that's okay. Done is better than perfect. Trust your hires, give feedback, and refine over time. The key is freeing yourself to focus on CEO level tasks. Now I want to hear from you.
Yeah, 100% on this. When you hire someone, I think it's important for you to understand the initial phase after hiring them is going to be more work than what it was before you brought them on. But that investment in getting them to a place where they can do it themselves is really important. He said, done is better than perfect. I already mentioned Dan Martell's quote, which again, I probably slaughtered. Sorry, Dan. But 80% done well by somebody else is 100% awesome to me. We've lived it here with our tax firm. It's super important. Give people the chance to grow, and it might not be done exactly the way you wanted it to, but if it gets done and the clients are happy and they keep paying and you have good retention, it's okay. They're just not done exactly how you wanted it done. Especially if you train them, here's the result we want. You tell me now that you're going to do it full time, or now that you've done it full time for a bit, is there a better way to do it? Every single job description in our company involves a responsibility for team members to innovate and improve processes, because we know those that are on the front line of doing the tasks will have better insight of what's efficient and effective than those of us now who are a couple spaces removed. One of the reasons the show Undercover Boss was so successful is because people want to make the corporate CEO the villain. And so you have this nice story arc where you kind of start off with the CEO's the villain. And as he gets into things, doing the day-to-day on the front line, he realizes, wow, there's a lot of stuff they don't understand about their own business, which is totally okay. But most of them admit and realize we've been making decisions as board members or the C-suite or the leadership team without having gotten our hands dirty in it and not even seeking their input. So then they have the whole like transformation, the CEO learns something, they, pick really, stories that pull on everyone's heartstrings. They give bonuses out. Anyways, I digress, but that's the same philosophy here. Let the people who do the day-to-day stuff in the long run be the ones who are helping you how to improve the efficiency stuff. That's not going to happen immediately, but I believe if you have that goal in mind, it gives you permission to let go of some of that control that was the resistance to you hiring somebody in the first place. And then you give them space to learn. I believe you need consistent training sessions along the way. This isn't a, hey, I trained you how to do it once. Cool, good luck. You need regular follow-up. Team members should be met with at least once a month. And so there's a whole lot more I could say about that, but I won't because I'm just reacting and responding to this video.
What's the one task in your business that's draining your time the most? If you're ready to take delegation seriously, check out my free resource below, the Ultimate Delegation Checklist.
God, so it looks like it's just some promotional stuff here at the end. So there you have it. That was my reaction. Great video by Casey Zeman. Again, gosh, what a solid name. Great ideas, good information there. Hopefully my added thoughts are valuable for you. And, I still hold to the principle that I think people will have a happier life if they live the 3.3 rule, take breaks, work better, get more done faster. All right, we'll see you on the next video.